was up 2-0. They got a goal late
from broadcast. It's one of my favorites to watch when I'm not casting anything myself. So go and watch that if you want to see how they do versus PK. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, you were saying about Gen G, they are currently beating Dignitas as well with that 1-0. So congratulations to them. Otherwise, we're here with FaZe G2 and a double demo to start us off.
Oh, and not the way you'd like it to go is Chicago. Wisely able to cut it off, but do you have anything else? And JNAVs knows that you got to hustle back because FaZe is pressing hard. A lot of whiffs here, though. Big advantage here. And this just sticks that one to the side. Great challenge.
I think it was a nice attempt by JNAVs too, because he saw that one of his teammates was to that side of the goal and he tries to dump it towards that the right wing. Instead, though, I think it was Atomic. Just ended up moving around towards the side where JNAVs already was, moves away from that passing 50 that managed to come in, but JNAVs again to the sky. He has been brilliant so far on the attack. No goals to come in from G2 so far, but that speaks more to the defense of FaZe until it is taken apart by G2.
And finally they get on top of one here. Atomic wins the race against First Killer, and Chicago thinking, hang on, I don't have time to go get the boost. I just got to go put this middle real quick. Great awareness, great communication. Pops right back around, and finally G2 out front early as well. 3.5 minutes to go, and now you kind of wonder if FaZe Clan, knowing that they have to make something happen now, instead of just reset and maybe end up in a 0-0 overtime, how do they play this one with so much time?
Minute 45 has gone, and G2 maintaining that lead. FaZe have had very few shots, just 2 on their side, but with no goals. He wants him to be converting a couple more. He wants to go low with that JNAVs, and that ends up being a brilliant 50. He doesn't need to get the goal here. He just has to get the ball into a good position with the defender out of position.
Wow. And it's... I don't even know how you're supposed to read that as First Killer, because you see JNAVs get behind the ball and you're thinking, okay, maybe pop it into an air dribble. So you're thinking, all right, force the ball high up off the backboard or something, maybe out in the corner, but he just hits it with no pace and just flips straight to the side to cover any type of clear angle. And First Killer's thinking, shoot, I kind of just have to drop it. And his teammates right there for it. That's such an awkward position to find yourself in. Chicago, and JNAV's going to get aggressive in the corner, and JNAV's just going to do it himself.
We were talking seconds ago that G2 didn't have a goal yet, and now they've got 3 less than a minute later. Brilliant pushing across the board by G2. FaZe's defense looking in shambles right now because the passes come in central, the shots just come in at every opportunity. Chicago, can he get another one here with 0 boost? It's going to be a bit of an effort, but the demo missed from Mist. Atomic trying to go for 1 in that corner. Isn't able to cut it off until Chicago is able to get something from it with 100 boost. Atomic waits on that back line. JNAV's in the sky. Typical on that side wall. There are times where you see these flashes of something coming from FaZe Clan, and that is one of those moments. First Killer, that's a dribble of a demigod.
First Killer thinking, here's what JNAV probably should have done in that challenge against me. Just sit behind the middle of the ball and go through everybody. And that's what he was probably expecting earlier, and he will execute on the offensive end. Such muscles. He's huge.
He's huge. He's been hitting the gym. He's climbed into a steamroller at the gym, knocks the weight rack over, and then punches the owner in the face. Incredible movement, and then typical, he manages to get a goal himself.
Not even sure Atomic believed that Typical was going to win the race. Like, Chicago had a pretty okay line, and just for whatever reason, got caught going forward, because looking at Atomic's camera, you could definitely see that Chicago was actually probably going to miss that ball, so just a weird positioning miscue from Atomic, a rare one at that. It certainly doesn't happen very often to him. JNAVs rips it towards the wall as Mist will take it away, but FaZe in a blink, right back in it when you're ready to just write off game 2 and say, okay, 3-0, 3-1, whatever, let's move on to game 3 and see what happens. But FaZe fight back. Huge, huge turnout.
In this game, whilst incredibly exciting, there's an entire other tournament going on. Stacks, isn't that, mate?
Yeah, Optic actually made a game out of game 1. They did drop that 3-2 to Furia, but have answered back. They got a 2-0 lead in game 2. Great news for you as well, Stumpy. Appjack not thrilled with Dignitas whatsoever. They took game 1, did Gen G. They're up 6-1 with time running out in game 2. If it were a fight, they would stop it. And NRG putting up another 4 spot as well in their second game. Actually, Dignitas has added a second goal for Gen G, but time is basically expired there. So NRG about to go up 2-0. Shopify Rebellion, by the way, has also answered back. They had a lead with about a minute to go over Space Station, and now they're in overtime because SSG scored while I wasn't looking.
Thank you very much, Stacks. Vigilant as ever. I mean, there's a minute left now in this game between G2 and FaZe, with the pressure continuing to build for FaZe. And that past midfield as well.
And FaZe doing the right thing. They know they can't really force it when all of G2's back, so let's just kind of pop it high in the middle, away from them, give ourselves time to make sure we can reset. Now they have this nice press, and they're really trying to go smash JKnaps out of the net. So if they win the ball from Atomic, they may have an opening. A little bit of a double commit there. Big recovery from Mist, and a huge challenge again from Typical to stop FaZe from getting put in a really tight spot with 30 seconds left.
JKnaps now on this push, that final 30, ever so important for FaZe. They need to work out the defense. Mist has not managed to get a flip or anything from that ball. Atomic actually going for the fake on that, and just burns a couple more seconds. Intelligent decision making as well from him. Mist sending it long, sees Typical on that right wing. Typical with 100 boost, gets bumped by Chicago. That nuisance play is infuriating when time ticks down.
Ooh, and the big wins as well with the boost steals. Got to be perfect now, FaZe, if you want to score. And that'll be hard to do with Chicago bearing down on you. They do get one more hop. JKnaps, yeah, just throw it into your teammate. No chance. They tie it up. I was wondering what they were going to do. The answer was just, shove as hard as you possibly could at every opportunity and then say, okay, we have enough. Let's just go wait like we always do. That's like the classic G2 move. We're up by 2 or 3. All right, we're just going to deep rotate back and say, score if you can.
And hey, I mean, they took that challenge straight to FaZe Clan, and they weren't able to answer it. So G2, as you said, going 1-1, securing that win here on Aquadome. Otherwise, Stacks, it's not been too long since an update, but is update question mark?
Things have happened. Actually, quite a bit has happened. Daniel ended up scoring about, I think, 11 seconds into that overtime that Space Station had forced. So SSG steals game 2 from Shopify Rebellion. Team Axel and Luminosity still in overtime. Those two teams fighting for survival down in the O2 bracket. NRG finished that game with a 7-1 result. So they've been Braziled and Braziled a team in this tournament. And Optic is beating the tar out of Furia at the moment. It was 5-0. I believe Furia have just added one because Yan scored his contractually obligated goal per game.
I'd believe it, to be honest, with how consistent he is.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I mean, the fact that, we've got so many games going on, if you guys want to look at any of these going on, I'm not going to sit here and read out every single stream that's happening. I'm not your performing monkey. Go and look.
Aren't you though, aren't we?
I guess technically I am a performing monkey. Yeah, fair enough. I'm a performing monkey, but I'm lazy as well. So go and look at the directory of Rocket League and see what streams are going on, because there are currently 2 regions playing. There's also EU doing the qualifiers over there. So yeah, a lot of Rocket League happening, but otherwise on the main stream, we're continuing with FaZe versus G2.
Well, the general G2 approach does seem to be, okay, send Chicago to smash somebody's face, have JKnaps follow it up, and Atomic will be the, okay, if anything goes wrong, I'm back here and I'm willing to play the one-on-one, one-on-two. And so far, it's got him at least a couple opportunities to stop some scary ones, as Atomic going to need a little bit of help here, as nobody around for FaZe, all had to dip out and grab a little boost.
I mean, that approach achieves has realistically won them a major.
Yes.
So they're one of the teams where we said right at the start, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's nothing to fix with G2. A couple of bits here and there with individual series errors, but their mantra, their ideals are exactly where you want them to be for a team that's going to be competing for World Championship and major titles. FaZe, they want to be trying to put an upset to that. They want to break into those grand finals repeatedly if they can. They won one regional previously. This is their start to be a little bit different in the 22-23 season. And first killer, trying to go something magnificent.
And FaZe really trying to capitalize on their mechanical excellence. Typical goes off the bar, and JKnaps just trying to control the ball. Make sure that he can get the bump afterwards and open a little bit of extra space, because FaZe really trying to keep the ball as high as they can, as far away from G2, regardless of how difficult that makes their approach on the net. And you have to commend that approach, the confidence you have to say, yeah, we can hit just about anything from anywhere. Atomic hits Chicago, and FaZe blinked twice. You may have missed it.
I felt like that might happen, but I can't understand how Atomic has dropped that so just straight down. I think the word I'm looking for is, no, it's not is it perpendicular? We are going at like the exact right angle down. Incredible touch, and Chicago is there to read it as well. That is synergy, that is excellent, and that is a second goal for Chicago.
And Chicago reads this kickoff beautifully, completely uncontested. Sees first killer give up on it initially. First killer trusts Typical, and Chicago just good luck, Typical. If you get it through him, you've done a beautiful job. If you don't, it's going in.
And good on him. 3 minutes in the game remaining, and there's already 2 goals going in for G2. I don't know what that record is actually versus each other, but Typical, he's going to want to try and change that fortune, because I imagine currently it's very much in favor of G2.
Another quick kickoff as well into that demo for Mist that causes a lot of problems. Atomic actually covered that up pretty well. He covered a good 80-85%, but knew he was never going to be able to reach all the way across, was just trying to gap close towards Typical, and he's able to squeeze that one into the corner. That demo paying dividends. Mist actually able to throw Atomic off the scent. Thought maybe G2 was going to have 3 there.
And looking at the stats as well, we're seeing that in the last 10 matches, it is 7-3 in favor of G2. They have been the team to beat when you come to FaZe, because they typically stop them from getting into those grand finals, where G2, they quite like to reside in the last year or so. Halfway through this game, Chicago flicking high over the top of Typical. Forces Mist to clear that one away. Doesn't do so particularly convincingly. Now double commit coming in. JNuts and Atomic both committing to that ball. Typical to go long. Force boost on first killer, so he doesn't want to commit to that ball as well. Force boost on Chicago. Can't do any more with it. A whip from Mist. And it goes on target as well. JNuts positioning. Poaches it perfectly.
Could see the game before it happens. I mean, first killer saw all the car languages, like there's no power on that touch. It's going right here. I stayed close to the floor on my float over to my teammate. Doesn't matter if it doesn't connect because I know where it's going. Great head on his shoulders. Huge play.
2 minutes left. And just going another goal ahead. 2 separating them at this point. Atomic onto the ceiling. Doesn't get the reset. Instead, Chicago comes in. That's something that I've loved seeing from teams in the last 6 to 8 months or so, where somebody goes up for the ball and then just someone else comes in from underneath. And another player just completely out of the blind spot then goes for the actual shot, and they just dummy it away. The aerial fakes are wonderful to watch. SSG was doing them quite a lot back in the day. G2 loves to do them as well. And a pinch just hitting that post. Chicago absolutely rollicking that one into the crossbar.
Had the right idea. I don't know if he could really score anywhere except the top of the net, so he did have to place it. Unfortunately, got a little too far under it, though, and Atomic there to take it away. 1:30 FaZe. They actually have a decent push here, and Atomic actually doesn't get it out. He doesn't miss those very often, no matter how tough it is, and here, unfortunately, I think he just squeezes it in himself.
That brings it down to just 1 goal separating them, and just you have to get 1 touch on that. You have to try and squeeze it away. Typical, as you saw, was there to sink it, if not. But that is going to be us approaching the final minute of this 3rd game, and Chicago off that kickoff. My gosh, man.
It's always how you're like, cool, we're back in it, we've done well, and then a kickoff like this happens, and it's like, I just went to the boost, to like the corner boost. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just Chicago won the kickoff so perfectly that I lose the race, and now I'm irritated because we have to score 2 again.
Snacks, I know you've been trying to talk for 45 seconds. We're here with you. Give us an update.
Oh, we've got a lot that has happened even in just the last 30 seconds. Shopify Rebellion has stayed alive. They're going to game 4 now with SSG after a 1-0 shutout. Luminosity has just eliminated Team Axel. No, Axel was up 2-0 in that series, so Luminosity has hung around in that series. One big development in the elimination area. Give me a number that you think Complexity might have put up against Rogue in game 3.
4.
6.
Keep going.
12.
Okay, not that much.
9.
Nothing. 2 different players with hat tricks. It was an absolutely savage beating. Furia and Optic have been scoreless. Optic has just taken that with an overtime winner from Reddles in that series. So that's a 2-1 lead for Optic. And Gen G locked in overtime with Dignitas there in the 4th minute of overtime.
Oh, gosh.
Catch, I think Wavy P is over there on the Dignitas stream watching the Euro-Americans of Gen G try to take down Dig.
So still no one is eliminated all through.
Not yet, but boy, I imagine Rogue right now is trying to find a rock to climb under because Complexity has scored very early on in what very well might be the last game of that series.
Well, this is not going to be the final game of this series because G2 have just taken their second versus FaZe. It is a very good win for them as well because G2, I believe this is the one where they went down relatively early as well. But it's just getting us kickoff goals, getting a couple of confidence goals with JNABs lurking to poach. Did a brilliant job. G2 2-1 up in this series now.
Yeah, 2 games in a row now where they've just gotten the nice early lead. And again, FaZe Clan, try as they might, a couple of really great presses, some nice shooting, but it's just going in that hole so early. And then you add in JNAPs picking one off, Chicago with the perfect kickoff. And it's like, man, it doesn't matter if we put up 11 shots because they've got like 9 and they score half of them. It's so irritating.
Yeah, it's hard to play up against G2 for sure. Go on, Stacks.
It is. We got one more update, by the way, down in the actually in the 1-1 rounds. NRG has made it final over Knights. What is it? 15-4. They outscored them in that series. They get a 4-3 overtime winner to close out that series.
I think it's only fair that when I was asking for James and Daz updates from chat, that you now give me updates now that they are also happy. You know, I don't just want them when they're sad. I want them at their best as well. So
I don't know.
if they're happy,
Daz still looks like he's going through it right now. Like I think he's still worried about their prospects.
Oh, Daz, be happy, man.
Because
My
all
man
it
needs
takes-
optimism.
All it takes is a round 4 loss. He knows it.
He's less optimistic than I am. I was more optimistic when I was casting Endpoint back in the day. So come on, my guy. Well, everybody make sure, obviously, you keep an eye on all of those streams. But otherwise, we are now in game number 4 between G2 and FaZe. G2 sit themselves on 2-1 in the best of 5. One more, and they'll be going through 3-0. A brilliant scoreline for them in our Smith stage.
And I mean, the biggest difference in this series so far, I mean, game 1, FaZe press. We were winning all the challenges, and now it's game 2, and they don't have anywhere near the same level of effectiveness in the challenge game, try as they might. And thankfully right now, G2's actually kind enough to miss a couple of touches. That gets them over onto the blue half, but what does it really mean?
Within a minute, no goals have gone in. We've seen a couple of early goals for both sides in this series. Chance of first killers go for the air drill, but just about avoiding and then catching that ball. That was just defensive perfection from Atomic.
If he over jumps it, he's going to be too high when he rotates his car sideways, and any other infinite number of things that go wrong if you don't play it exactly that way. Oh, the car control was just perfect. You love to see it from Atomic.
It's just that excellence when you look at a player when they're properly on it, when they are just feeling themselves that day. And Atomic certainly is. His defense has been astronomically good. So his attack has also been up there as well. Linking up with JNABs, going back and forth. I think one more than JNABs was realistically expecting in that play, in the 1-2s. Ended up being a 1-2, 1-2-1. Now on that opposite side, FaZe Clan wanting to push as hard as they can. Atomic moving around in and out save for the shot that never came. Atomic sending it back up towards Chicago. You can then see JNAP central, but the demo coming in and the shot missed with Chicago within his sight.
That's really what FaZe are trying to do. They win the challenge there in the midfield, and then they're trying to sweep across the net, take away the options for G2's clear, and then see if they can maybe capitalize on an open net. Unfortunately for them, the timing has to be so specific. Ooh. And you can't be too far forward.
You can't do that,
Chicago's right there, and Atomic will collect as Chicago says, too far, buddy. Stay there.
I didn't realize that in Rocket League you could equip deer as headlights, because that's exactly what First Killer looked like then. He just sat there like, well, I have made, quite frankly, a terrible error. He gets bumped as well, and that is G2 with the first goal in this game. We approach half-time, misses on the attack, but Stacks has added me in Discord. Wait a minute, Stacks, because First Killer's about to get a worldie. Never mind, Stacks, go, go, go!
All right, Gen G has made it official. 3-0 win over Dignitas in that series. And Arsenal has scored to put Space Station up 1-0. That one looks like it's going final very soon, if it hasn't already. Yes, it's gone final with Arsenal scoring both, as we send it back to Atomic. Look at the boy.
Atomic scoring both as well. How poetic. Manages to shoot it just in that near corner. Mist does get a touch, but it's so quick. Momentum just about carries it through with 2-0. G2 lead this game on Utopia. And also, I've just seen from our wonderful statistician, D-Rectress back to this season, which we all adore, Complexity now tie the North American record for biggest goal differential in one game with a 9-0 win over Rogue.
Wow.
Incredible.
What do you think they're doing to Rogue in game 4?
Let's
4-2.
go 39.
No, they're losing. As you do, naturally. After winning 9-0, they're down 2-1 with about 30 seconds left.
Happens go next.
that is how it always goes. You absolutely blow somebody out of the water, and then it's like, oh, we've lost the 1-0 overtime. it's like how?
It's like every single game in ranked, when you score the best goal of your life, you always lose that game. You always lose that game. It happens. But G2 are looking great on winning this one. 1:30 remaining. Chicago trying to go for that double tap. Atomic with a doink going top corner. Simple saving it away. This will be G2, bear in mind, going through 3-0, securing that one of top 2 seeds.
And FaZe, try as they might, really struggling to bring the ball down in their own control. I mean, they're having to make these really awkward touches. And first killer, what a pass! That's gonna knock. Oh! I was about to say, do they make that save? I was about to lose my mind. But thankfully, that one went into the net.
I think you can still lose your mind. That is a fantastic reception. But first, gets to the ball, backflips, puts literally negative distance on it, and yeah, it still gets tapped in, I think, by Atomic. So, just to get sent. Chicago this time not able to get a life-ruining kickoff goal. Never mind. Yes, he is. It's another life-ruining kickoff goal from Chicago. You devilish beast.
Oh, first killer knew he drove too deep into the corner, had to slam the brakes in the net, try and slow down to give himself a chance, and Chicago wasting no time, hard as he could. Any softer, he might actually make that save.
Minute left, and that's 2 goals established yet again for G2. That lead, the deficit growing for FaZe, and they are groaning on their side, still battling for that first place. If FaZe take this game and G2 still get through, or FaZe get through, then SSG are going to be confirming that #1 seed because they won 3-1. Otherwise, it's down to some kind of head-to-head that I just don't know about. It's in the rules somewhere. Read the PDF.
You know, you were talking about misdirections earlier, Stumpy, and FaZe trying everything they can think of, which is every suboptimal touch in front of the blue net to see if anyone gets pulled out of position. Unfortunately, it's not going to work, man. They're too good right now.
I mean, you try what you can to get what you desire. First killer, though, he's still got a chance. Absolutely slings it with the underside of his car. Gets it away. JNAB slows it down. G2 are going to be making their way through into top 8 because where else do they belong? FaZe go through into that 2-1 part of our bracket. A brilliant showing from G2 and FaZe. They were on a run, and G2, they chuck a stick in the path and they trip them over.
FaZe had to give them their one loss. They don't get to go into the weekend with the clean 9-0. It does have to be 9-1. FaZe did play an excellent first game, but that was tough for FaZe Clan. I mean, you just lost all the challenges, the perfect pickoffs from G2 in general, able to pick apart the defense, really control the ball a lot better than FaZe was able to.
And they did a great job to do so. But now, after these replays, we're going to be having a look at the Complexity game because they are in elimination, bear in mind, which is a scary